If you weren't at Funnel Hacking Live 2023, there are some major insights that if you missed could literally take down your business overnight. But even if you were in the room, there's still a good chance that you missed these if you weren't looking between the lines. And in this video, I'm gonna break down my top 3 takeaways from the event and exactly what it means for you, whether you're running an online business that's already doing 6, 7, or 8 figures plus, you're just getting started, or even if you're running a brick and mortar business. Make sure to stick around to the end. Number 3 in particular is probably costing you millions of dollars each year. First off, let's address the elephant in the room. I know that there are plenty of people out there that doubt the validity of the Clickfunnels world, that doubt Russell Brunson, and if he is who he says he is, that is for beginners and blah, blah, blah. And after this event, it's obvious that Russell Brunson is the GOAT. And what they're building at Clickfunnels and in all of his other companies and beyond is just different than anything else that's out there. He's actually practicing what he preaches, for one, and he's built a massively loyal following for a software company, people. I think we miss that one a lot when we're talking about what he's done. It doesn't matter if Clickfunnels goes down for an hour, if it has bugs, people are fiercely loyal to it. And you can't argue that there's something to be learned from what he's done, and there's evidence at every level. His prestigious Inner Circle and Atlas and Category Kings group, 50K, 100K, 200K a year, have a different feel than any other mastermind that's out there, even more expensive ones. And it's all a testament to the foundations that he teaches and uses himself. The energy in the room is unlike any other. And some of the biggest players and names in the space are here, they're chatting in the hallways, and they're sitting in presentations. So while it may not be the in-depth tactical breakdown that you get at other events, you get something more important. An insider's look at what the leaders are doing, where they're focused, and how they're pivoting and changing from year to year. Which means you get a leg up on the trends and what's coming, and you can be ahead of the curve if you put this into action. When I say trends, I don't mean just the latest AI gadget or shiny object, but these are actual foundational pieces that scale. Things that have always been there, we've just maybe forgotten about them, or worse, let go of them because we got comfortable and we didn't have to put as much effort into them. All powerful empires rise and fall, just like the latest marketing fad, and if you're not ahead of it, it could really sneak up on you. So if I were to sum up the event in one insight from a high level, it would essentially be this: don't get distracted or comfortable with what's easy now, with the money that you're making now, because you're basically missing the forest for the trees and you're leaving a lot more money on the table. In other words, the cost of not acting on this is way more expensive than continuing to do what you've been doing. Let me explain that. So to get into it, the first takeaway was a common thread throughout almost all of these presentations, and that was organic traffic. Guys, I'm telling you, there is something in the water here. The writing is on the wall, and as if we needed any more evidence to follow, in a room full of million and multi-million dollar business owners, all of them are focused in one way or another on organic content. Speaker after speaker got up there and told a version of what was effectively the same story. Either version A, they got here on paid ads, life was great, they never thought it would happen to them, and overnight they almost lost their entire business because the ads just stopped working, or their CPA just kept increasing to a point where they couldn't make a profit, or their ad account was just shut down. Or story number 2, they cracked some kind of code and finally found massive success because of the brand they built through, you guessed it, organic content. There's no doubt that there is no better investment in your business right now other than organic traffic. If you want longevity in your business and not just short-term and unstable results, organic content is the way. Attention is the new currency. Plus, over the last year, Russell has really been leaning into the framework he used to take Clickfunnels to over $100 million in revenue in just a few short years, and it's what he now uses for all of his portfolio companies. One of these being the linchpin framework, which I'll get into in number 3, but the pathway to grow and drive traffic for this is what he calls the attractive character flywheel, which, simply put, is just a way of publishing long form and short form, you guessed it, content. And doing so with the attractive character or face of the brand being front and center and not hiding behind a company logo. I think it's really easy for us to hear this over and over again, but what really sank in for me was a guy named Eric Thane who told his story. He had a successful business, was doing well, making the money he wanted. I think he was well over 7 figures at this point, but it was all on paid ads. Over the span of a couple of months, his cost per acquisition kept climbing until his bank account was essentially drained. He decided at that point that he was going to cut all paid ads and go all in on organic short form content. He lost followers for the first couple of months, but he stayed consistent, posting daily, and eventually his business is bigger than ever, all on organic traffic. And even if you look beyond who was just in the room at FHL, trends don't lie. It's why one of my coaches, who I pay over $85K a year to work with, and they're doing well over $50 million a year in revenue, they're focused over the next 3 to 5 years on moving all of their traffic to be reliant solely on organic. We're talking millions in ad spend to be replaced with content. It's the same reason Alex Hormozi went from all paid traffic with Gym Launch to all organic traffic as we know him today. He's never run ads to acquisition.com. He's never said, hey, if you're a business owner doing 3 to 5 million, we want to buy you in a paid ad. He obviously could do that and he could crush it, but he's chosen not to, and there's a reason why. And here's the thing, this isn't going to shift overnight if you're solely running paid ads right now. So you probably don't have the ability to burn your ships and shut off all your paid ads right now to go all in on organic content, but you do have to start now with organic. And the organic content will actually keep your costs low, even if you are running paid ads right now, and add fuel to your ads as you move more and more towards organic. It's how we're actually able to book consistent $90 to $100 calls for our high ticket offers. All right, so that's number one. Organic traffic is the way. Number two, build a brand, not a business. The second insight, and all three of these, by the way, do have a tie to organic content, but the second is to truly have success that lasts, the kind where you're not worried about next month or if something goes down or the economy shifts, is you've got to build a brand, not a business. Brad Gibb and Ryan Lee really hit this one home. They sell life insurance, of all things, and believe it or not, they have people literally tattooing their logos on their body and speaking their company slogan over their newborn babies. And there are 3 steps. I actually think there might have been 4, but I combined them in my notes, so you get 3 that they broke down to building this. So number 1 being focus on your core values as a person to translate that into your company. So again, you become the attractive character and you share your beliefs and values. And how do you do that? By creating content. Second, speak to the core problem that your clients have, not the product. And the core problem, not just being the immediate one that your product solves, but the second and third level bigger life problems. For example, with life insurance, as their core motivator, it's freedom and autonomy. And their clients have a problem with this because they're stuck financially. So now, all of a sudden, life insurance becomes a solution to all of their life problems. If they can be financially free, they can travel, they can have a better marriage, they can spend more time with their family, and so on. So own the problem, and it doesn't matter as much about your track record. Results are still important, but this way, when you focus on the problem, people will automatically just see you as an expert and that you have the answer to their problem. And guess what? How do you own the problem? You create content around the problem and you instantly become relevant to the right people. Third, give them an identity. This taps into their core values and who they are, and this creates loyalty. And my last major takeaway is the idea around continuity or recurring revenue from some sort of subscription payment that your clients make to you.
The linchpin.
The linchpin?
Linchpin.
The linchpin?
The linchpin is the holy grail.
And this is essentially what Russell calls his linchpin model. It seems like every chance he got, he's pulling up this quote that if you don't have continuity, you don't have a business. This was also a big theme at last year's FHL. And to be completely honest with you, I walked away thinking it was a nice to have, but we're doing just fine without it. That it was easier to scale with what we're doing. And because we had a bigger price point, we didn't need to do this. Fast forward a year later, and I'm still in the audience pushing back on the validity of that quote. I'm arguing in my head saying, well, that's not exactly true. But then I realized that this quote is not an absolute. It's not a right or wrong. It's not a 100% true. But at the end of the day, it's about whether you're willing to settle for good in exchange for great. Because sure, without continuity, you might have a business. You might even have a $10 million business. But no matter what you're doing, you have a fraction of the business that you actually could have if you embrace continuity. And there were 2 things that changed my mind about this. So for one, Russell tells the story of waking up to Stripe notifications, that you've got money coming in before you even wake up, to illustrate the power of continuity. And as I'm sitting in the audience, I'm feeling my pride bubble up because that morning we'd done maybe about 40K in revenue without me doing a single thing and without continuity. But as the presentation went on, I started to get it. That money coming in was a false sense of security. It was a distraction. Because although it feels like we're doing great, and we are, we're leaving the other millions on the table, and it compounds over time. And the second story is when Russell walked through how they use this model to take Clickfunnels to $100 million. He broke down the exact math from when they implemented this. And although before this, they had done about $2 million in the high ticket offer, it was a $1,000 offer, the real money came from the over 7,000 subscribers they got into continuity at $97 a month. At the end of the day, without it, they would have been doing about $10 to $15 million a year, which most would look at that as pretty impressive, instead of $100 to $150 million a year. All of this can be done without changing much. Just by using your high ticket sales to drive back into getting more subscribers into continuity, not only does revenue go up, but your company valuation goes up too. If you do ever sell, venture capitalists look for recurring revenue. It doesn't matter how much you're doing right now in high ticket sales. There's nothing that's on the books to come in next month or next year like there would be if you had a subscription model. And the multiples for a company valuation on subscription-based revenue is way higher. So, what is your complacency costing you? This is essentially the entrepreneurial version of the golden handcuffs. The million you're making right now is keeping you from the 10 million that you could have. And to go back to the idea that Russell practices what he preaches, he also broke down how he's going to repeat this exact process with his new company to take it to $100 million in annual revenue in 24 months. And in case you were wondering how this one could possibly tie into organic content, don't worry, it does. To grow your subscription base, you need traffic. And while you can take the money from your high ticket sales and dump them back into ads, conversion rates go up when you combine that with organic content. Part of the attractive character flywheel framework is building an email newsletter. There are two clear reasons why this is powerful. Number one, conversion rates go up. Perry Belcher actually showed a stat from one of his own newsletters comparing cold traffic to traffic that was nurtured for 3 days. There was a 651% increase in conversion for the second group that was exposed to the newsletter content. And the second reason, brands want to own media. They don't want to buy $1 million 30-second spots on the Super Bowl anymore. They're starting to understand the power in cultivated audiences. Think about it. What do billionaires buy these days? Media companies. And that's effectively what you're doing by building an email newsletter. Now your valuation goes up even more. You could sell the newsletter itself if you wanted to. Summed up like this, it's collecting attention, which content at scale allows you to do. So there's the writing on the wall and takeaways from FHL. Organic traffic, build a brand, not a business, and continuity. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments. And if you want some help building out your organic traffic content system in the fastest way possible, check out the link below. I'll see you next time.